Hey, I made it. I made it. I was delayed with heavy, heavy metro traffic going out to the warehouse. I mean, we do have stoplights, or maybe three. Uh, hopefully, hopefully, I can't talk today. Hopefully, everybody is going to enjoy this one this morning. We're going to be making this hollow sphere stemmed goblet. These are a lot of fun. Like I was saying earlier this morning, if you happen to catch me over on my homepage, they can be a little challenging if we make a real small stem on them, but a lot of fun. We'll be using a lot of different tools today, all kinds of good stuff. I've got my piece mounted up on a faceplate, and I'm going to leave it on a faceplate. It's nice and secure. As you can see, she's not too bad. She's not round. I mean, she's still square, so we're gonna square it up. We'll be using a roughing gouge for that. I will, from time to time, have to walk over to the side and check for any kind of questions that might be there, which I'd be happy to answer to the best of my ability for you. Because I don't have an assistant to call out questions to me. So we get that. Let's find a nice speed here. This mini lathe, I don't want to get too crazy. That's about 800, 815 or so, something like that. That should be all right. All righty. And Dick Gerard's here. All right, Dick. These are your favorite things, spheres, hollowed spheres. Can you hear me today, Dick? I know you had trouble on Sunday with our anniversary. I hope you got that technical thing figured out and the bugs worked out of it. We did have a lot of fun. Sorry you couldn't hear. I believe it's the rebroadcast is up there so that you can hear. So let's start by making sure our face mask is clean. Looks like it could use a little help. Here's my super cleaner. My super easy eye cleaner. Cleans up my goggles real good. It also, as much as cleaning, and even more so, especially because this, even though I got the AC on out here, it's kind of warm and muggy. It helps keep things from fogging up. So I've been real happy with this. Like I said, I'm going to get it on the website. I got a whole bunch of it. It works great. So the anti-fog, anybody that's a snowmobiler lives up north, you know all about fogging up your goggles snowmobiling, or when you're wearing your face shield when you're turning. Now, obviously, see, I wear a goggle style, not a flip up and down, so I have a little more issue with the fogging potential. But in this particular mask, I've also drilled a bunch of extra holes to help the face mask ventilate, which works out pretty well. Look over here. I got my big screen up, and I just have to. All right, Dick, you can hear. Wonderful. And I'm going to expand this screen so I can see it from further away. All right. So I don't have a big tool rest for this guy. A long one that fits in this post, because this is a 1 inch. Let's say maybe. Nah, we'll go with this. This is all I'm going to need anyway. I do have my different views today, wherever my clicker is. So we have front view, as I'm talking to you with. I have the overtop view, where you'll be able to see what's going on. We'll adjust accordingly as we need to. Let me zoom that out just a little bit right now as we speak. There we go. Get back there. And our end view. So when we start going inside, and that looks like it could use a little adjustment. We'll get these kind of things adjusted now. We won't have to fuss with them so much later on. Maybe back that out just a tick. There we go. Okay. So I think we'll start with our overhead view. Put that in my pocket. Good morning, Al. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Lewis. Can you hear Can you hear this weekend? Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear? Dick says he can hear this weekend too, which is great. You know, guys, I'm having a lot of fun doing these live streams. I'm still learning. I'm still working the bugs out. I completely changed computers out here yesterday to try and make it better. Switch back over here real quick for a second so I can talk to you guys. I do have the switcher that I use, my Magic Clicker. It is a physical switcher. That's why you see the unacceptable signal, unrecognized signal. I am going to be switching over to a software-based switcher here fairly soon. I need to find one that I can still use some fashion of a remote so that I don't have to walk over there to the computer every time I want to change the camera views. I just think it's bad to be walking over there. I have a live stream. I'll walk over to check the questions and whatnot. But I need to find a system that, and I think maybe the OBS will do it. I got to find out. Otherwise, I'm going to keep looking until I find something that if I can use the phone app or whatever to make the switcher, then you won't see that little glitch. But other than that, it's working pretty good. I got the sound figured out, I think. We'll find out. So I'm going to switch back over to the overhead now. And okay, put on my mask. I've always roughed with a bowl gouge. Always. That's just all I ever had. So roughing with the spindle gouge, I'm like, why don't I use a spindle gouge? Or a spindle roughing gouge. Now that I have them, I ought to be using it. So starting to. They say even an old dog can learn new tricks, right? Alrighty. Get that guy fired up. Again, make sure everything's tight. I also took off, this can be interesting, I took off the image stabilization, and supposedly it's going to help with the focus. We'll find out today. Anchor the tool. I was going to do this messy part beforehand, but I ran out of time. Now, if you're wondering about the faceplate, I'm going to leave that faceplate in there connected the whole time. I'm not going to take it off the faceplate. I used 1 1/4 screws, so I have 1 inch sticking in. So I'll take that into consideration when I go to make the profile of the piece. I think I want a little more speed here, actually. Not shaking too bad. Try not to run off the tool rest there. And I don't get too carried away because I know I'm going to turn all of this away. But we do want to get close to a nice round cylinder to work with. This piece of maple's been hanging around for quite a while. It's got 1 knot down in the far end here, but that's going to be below the base, so I'm not worried about it. We got a little split here, but that's where the stem is going to be, so I'm anticipating that that will get turned away. So that's why I'm not worried about that. Can you hear that knot there? So it will be small, but that's the idea. The diameter is going to be small. We wanted it to use the new miniature tools. We're looking for a small little sphere. It's a good, fun challenge. All right. So let's see. I bet that's only about 2.5 inches. I was thinking 3 or 4. Let's see what we got here. Get my clicker out. Go to 3, and we are 2 and 15/16. So that's pretty close to 3. So I'm pretty close to my goal. I wanted like I said, a 3 or 4 inch piece for this. So I'm happy with that. It'll be good fun. Good fun. That little split right there, we'll see what happens. Wasn't in my plan. I may turn this away. I think I will. I think we'll just cut this off. Get my sphere here, my base. I'm going to make myself a reference wherever my pen got off to. About 1 inch out is where my screws are. They're 1.5 inch screws, and I checked them with the base plate, so I know that that's where the screws go to, right there. So that's where everything has to stop, is right there at that line, or I'll be cutting tools up. So I'm going to cut this back. That gives me that. That'll work. That'll work. So we'll find the parting tool down in here. Where's she hide? There she is. Check and see if if I need to scroll anything here. Looking all good. Let's cut some of this extra away. This is Carter & Son parting tool. This is the one I always hit reverse on this guy. I'm going to take that much away from this. This is the 1/16 inch parting tool. All right. That gets rid of that. I don't see the split running in our little area there now, so we're good. Can you guys hear me okay? Huh. You say I'm not on the Spirocraft page? That's interesting. But thank you for joining me, Mark, anyway, wherever I may be. I don't have this all completely figured out. I'll be the first to admit. Let's see. We can use we got all kinds of tools. We can use the carbide tools to round this over. We can use spindle gouge to round it over, and start making our profile. I'm going to play with, I think I pulled out a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. I need to work with my spindle gouges. I'm a bowl turner. I'm trying to reform. Get my speed up.
going to get some vibration because I've got it way out there. Let me go to overhead for you. Overhead is 2. Oh, you know one thing I brought, and I completely forgot to even talk about it. I was in such a hurry because I was running late. You don't have to do these by hand. This is a Carter Product sphere jig. Now this is set up for my 18-inch lathe, so I couldn't use it here this morning. But you can use a sphere jig and make a perfectly round sphere. This one was done with the sphere jig out on the road. That's how I get that nice round sphere. So if you've got one of these or you're interested in making perfect spheres, this thing works great. I grabbed it out of the warehouse. That's why I was late. Sets up on your rig, pivots, makes you a perfect sphere, and then you go into hollowing. So I meant to mention that, forgot to. Good little setup to have. The image is frozen on Facebook. Well, I don't know, Dick. Facebook is strange. Facebook is strange. So I was working with a spindle gouge. I'm going to change things around just for the fun of it. I'm going to grab a Easywood Carbide mid-size tool. Just to change it up. And I'm starting to kind of think about my little sphere profile here. Now, if I don't make a perfect sphere today, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to have fun. Let's see. I'm going to move this lathe just a little bit so that you guys can see better. There we go. Couldn't see the sphere gauge. Oh, couldn't see the sphere gauge. Well, while we're in the overhead, we'll try it like that. Does that help? I'll get this stuff figured out. I'll get it figured out. Again, this is the base. It mounts down in the ways of the lathe. The cutter is the carbide cutter, which I don't have in it. It was in a box somewhere else. But the whole thing pivots. The head pivots. It's really cool. It really is a lot of fun. All right. Well, more splits, and I didn't bring CA glue today. I knew I was going to, and I was so out of time. Well, we'll just deal. We'll have fun. You're welcome, Lewis. So one thing I do is I don't take a lot of material out back here. I don't complete the sphere because when I go in here to hollow, I want a lot of strength back inside. So I don't take the whole thing out. I just give myself the general idea. And if we change over to the end camera, I'm fogging up. It's warm. Let me give you number 3 there so you can see what I'm up to. There we go. Come on, get in focus. This one has a hard time sometimes. We'll see how this works. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing today. I'm going to switch back over to the overhead here because I want to show you something that's kind of important to me. And I might zoom this overhead in a little bit closer for you. Let me do that because we're kind of far away. We'll bring her in there. If I were to put something in here with some contrast, this profile, trying to work on the profile here. You know, I'm looking at the floor, and I had a piece of cardboard the other day, but I threw it away. Let's see if this paper towel will do the trick. Something that lets me see my profile easier. Okay. It really makes it so much easier to be able to see when you have some nice high contrast underneath what you're working on. A dark piece would have been better, a piece of dark cardboard, because this wood is kind of light in color. All right, now let's try something. I'm going to try something I haven't tried before. I've never put a negative rake scraper to a piece like this. I've always used the Cartbite tools, and I think I have my scraper here. Thought I did. I do. It's just not in the handle yet. Knowing me. Always something for me. Let me run over here. You can't see me, so I won't worry about working in front of the camera. Let's grab another handle. Yeah, I'll just wait till I have this all. I got to take this mask off for a minute, and I'll change camera so you're not just hearing me walk around. I'm going to say, y'all just wait till I get this all set up and everything's dialed in. I mean, I still got to hang the drywall in here, get the rest of the circuits running. But if I can make it work, I'm happy. That's one thing about Carter & Son Tools. Their machining is excellent. I've been really happy with these Carter & Son tools. I started using them about 3 years ago. Admittedly, I was leery of the aluminum handle at first. I was like, that's weird.
I think it's great. Now that I've used it, I think it's really nice. This is a pretty piece of wood. I do wish I had brought my CA. I was going to run over to the other warehouse and grab some. And like I said, I was starting to run out of time. Story of my life. All right, so I'll go back to, let's see, which view? Let's do the overhead view. Number two. Let's see how this cleans up. This is kind of like using the Radius carbide cutter from Easywood. I think of them as sanding with a tool. They both do a wonderful job, just depends on what you've got. And we'll clean this guy up. Now, I am going to sand this a little bit because once I go inside, it'll be pretty fragile, plus with my little split in there. So I'm going to sand this up. And I think this is natural. I was going to spray. So I have a question. And I'm going to take a poll here, and then I'll check on it here in a little bit. Where's number one? I have some red dye. This is ambrosia maple. And if I could spray this red, and we'd get some interesting color combinations, or I can use Yorkshire grit and some wax, Hampshire sheen wax, and just do a natural finish on it. I can go either way. So y'all vote there and tell me which way you'd rather it go when we get all done. I'll sand it now. I won't do any kind of finish until later on. So if you have an opinion, let me know, and we'll go from there. Alrighty? All right, let's go back to overhead. That's the wrong one. It looks good there, but that's the wrong one. This live stuff is fun. You don't have a picture, Mary Alice? That's no good. That's no good. I wish I had an answer for that. This morning, I couldn't get Facebook to come up at all on the computer. And it was 9:15. I wanted to do an announcement that I was going to be out here, and I couldn't get anything to come up. Technology's great till it doesn't work. So I got a little hump right about here. I'm going to look out there at the gray floor and clean that up. Paper towel's not quite doing it for me. If you'll take a little extra time with that profile, you'll be really happy. And again, we're going to leave that alone, okay? Take that mask off for the moment. So I want you to see what the end looks like as well. Here, let's go to number 3 for that. So it's a pretty piece of wood. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and do everybody's favorite and do a little bit of quick sanding on this guy. Nothing fancy. Just a quick hit. Just to get her smoothed up. 80, 120, 220, we'll call that good. Go to reverse. Lower down a little bit.
Like I said the other day, and I haven't done it yet, I'm going to put a monitor out there behind that camera so that I can see really what's going on. I don't have to look over here to the right like that. You can see what I'm doing. Make sure you can see what I'm up to. This is a cursory sanding, just concept of. But that cleaned up pretty nice for quick. There's still marks in there and they need to be sanded better, but we're not going to spend all day messing with the sanding. So the next thing, I'm going to go ahead and start my way inside. So we'll be working from the end camera. I do have out here today the new EasyWood Tools mini hollowers. You can see them. Yep. And we'll start out with the straight one, and we'll start working with them. These things are a lot of fun. Now, these have the negative rake cutters on them. A lot of people have really been happy with the negative rake for the small hollowing. So that's what's on here. Even though this maple is not super hard, we'll leave those on there. Instead of, if I wanted to be more aggressive, I would put a standard CI5 on them. But I'll go with the way they come, just so you can see how they work. And I think we're good. We'll take that out of the way for the moment. Switch over here in a second. Now you could drill a hole in here. I'm going to use the tools and let the tools do all the work. Make sure I'm right at the center there. It's pretty good. Switch over to the end view. Give you a good end view. What's going on? Now, I would do my best to keep me out of the picture. I think I'm going to turn the lathe for this so that when I come in here, I'm a little less in the picture. I think I'll turn it even a little bit more. Then I'll move the camera, because the best for you is what's the most important. Let me scroll down here and see what's going on. It's back. Yay, Mary Alice, you can see. Lewis is a natural finish, okay. I see Andy Marshall's here. Good morning, Jerry. Jerry, you're supposed to be practicing. You're supposed to be on your way to Raleigh. Well, of course, you live just down the street. Okay. Let's head on inside this guy. Put her back and forward. I'm going to run about 800 to start and see how things go. So we all want as small a hole as possible, but there's reality too. So the bottom of the tool touches a little bit when I start with this first small radius. So I'm actually going to raise the tool rest up a little teeny bit above center. And it alleviates that from hanging up so much or touching. Yes, it would be faster to drill a hole down the middle. I don't believe my drill is here. So one of these days when I have everything in the same place, I'll be really happy. Until then, we'll work with what we have. Raise that up a tick more. All right, so let's go ahead and switch tools. And I'm going to take the little 45-degree tool. Oops, shouldn't put my arm in front of there. Sorry, guys. I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Start reaching around the corner here. Switch back over to the straight tool. I may switch just over to a standard CI5 for hollowing this out. Let's do that. I'm going to do that real quick. So I will change the camera over while we talk. I want something a little more aggressive. So I'm going to put a standard CI5 on here. Steal it off of something else. Actually, you know what? Let's see. But that's got a negative rake on it, so that one won't work. Do I have a... I do. It's over here on... Oh, I was doing resin. Let's see. So that's that. All right. Maybe I don't have a standard CI5 here with me. After all, I got everything else. Once again, Bradley's in his perfect organization. No, he doesn't have a standard CI5 with him that is small. So, never mind. I will keep on with the negative brakes. Mask back on. Microphone in the right place. Let's see what's going on over here in the question department. All right. Back in the hole here. I'll just lean on it a little harder. Okay, back to the 45. Start taking some of the side out, make myself a little more room to work. When you've got a sphere that's only 3 inches around, and what's my hole? I don't know. I mean, it's not critical. Just curious. That's probably half an inch, 5/8. It's about 5/8. So you don't have a lot of wiggle room in the hole, but that's what makes it fun and challenging. Oh, sorry about that. Put my hand in front of the camera again. Now, if I want to go ahead and go further around the corner, I'm going to have to keep these tools. I'm going to have to reach around, keep them over here. Reach around the camera. I'm going to grab the 90. Back to tool rest up a little bit. Not much. And reach right up in that top corner there. So that lets me reach right up in there pretty good. You can see where we get all the way inside. Start our way around. The one thing about, I was talking about how small the hole is, you tend to beat them up anyway. So you might as well start with the smallest you can work with because you're going to beat it up a little bit. Go back to the straight tool. Let me get over here real quick. See if I can handle any questions. How thin, and assuming it's dry wood? Yes, it's 9 years dry, Jerry. It was, I looked at it. It was a 2010 cut. Yeah, let me switch cameras here. It's a 2010. It's a piece of we've had around for a long time, so it's very, very dry. How thin? I'm not going to go super thin today because there is a split right here, and I didn't bring my CA glue in, and I'm tired of running out on you guys, so I'm not going to go super thin. But you could. You can go. Well, you could go hat thin, Jerry. I know you could. Put your light on there and make it glow like a lampshade. So that's a challenge, Jerry. What do you think? Can you make one of these spheres that is as thin as your hat? If you'll do it, I'll do it. I'll use a better piece of wood. What do you think? All right, let's go back to our end camera. And I'm going to go straight in again. Take out some more material. Stay in focus there. Sorry about my hands getting in the way. I got to reach over a little bit. Let's try something. Let's try something here. Let's see if I can't reach with the 45 down into the middle. I think I need to move my tool rest a little closer. Let's see if we can do what I was trying to do with the straight one with the 45. Yes, that works. So I can do the very bottom and not get in your way with the 45. Again, with these negative rate cutters on for this maple, which is actually fairly soft, it's not nearly as aggressive. If I had changed them out and had I brought in the standard CI5s, this would go a lot faster, but it's a little harder to control because it's easy to overcut. So now switching over to the 45 just to even get that inside and take the middle out is working pretty good for me. I can feel my nub right there in the center. You see it right there. So I try and find it and get up underneath it and cut it off so I don't have that left over. This is working pretty well. Okay, I may switch over to the 90 here. The 90 is a pretty abrupt angle. I'm sure yours will look better. No, Jerry. After Raleigh, you bet. When you come here to Spidercraft here in this studio, and you're gonna do a class with us, we talked about that, and maybe we'll work on our challenge in as part of that, along with your hat work. What do you think? So now I'm using the 90-degree tool. And one thing you want to be really careful of, I'm going to shut this off for a second, is when you're backing out that you should use a pointer. Where's my fancy pointer? You want to be really careful about the curve part of your tool, the back end of your tool hitting back here, because you're concentrating on what's going on at the cutter, and we tend to focus where we're cutting, and we'll lose track of what's going on right there sometimes, and that can get you in trouble. Okay, so we want to be aware of that. Alrighty, happens all the time. Same thing if you're doing, it has nothing to do with this. If you're doing, let me change this over a second. I need to let some air in here anyway. Getting fogged up. If you're working on, say, a natural edge piece, I don't know how many of y'all do natural edge work, and you're turning and you've got an oval piece and you got all the edges, and you're in here cutting away, you forget about like your forearm, the back of your hand, because you're focusing on what you're cutting down in the middle of the piece, let's say, or maybe you're working down a wing, and the next thing you know, you whack yourself in the back of the hand or the forearm with that outer top of that natural edge, end up with the big old hole in you. So we have to be very aware of where the rest of the pieces are and where our tools are that aren't exactly where the cutter's at. Does that make sense? I hope so. So focus on the cutter because we have to, but also focus on the extra parts and pieces of what's going on for a strange explanation there. All right, I think I'm defogged. And we'll go back to the end shot. And go here and check here real quick. Dick Sing's one of my first classes on wood turning was with Dick Sing, and I think my dad was there. Up at the Apple Ridge Wood Turners in the Ellijay, Georgia area, and Dick Sing was there for the all-day weekend, and I was just getting going, and he taught me so much. He looked at my little 1/4-inch bowl gouge and said, "Son, how can you turn with that?" It had a big old hog nose on it, and I didn't know any better, and that's why I was there. And if you're in a club or if you're new to turning and there's a club close by that has demonstrations and you can get there, especially if they have mentors come in for a weekend, it's some of the best learning for a small price that you can pay. We all know that AAW's annual convention is this weekend. You can learn a lot. It's also very expensive. Well, I shouldn't say it's very expensive. It costs a lot. And Jerry will be there. I'm going to plug you, Jerry. Jerry's going to be there doing hat demonstrations, teaching you how to make a hat. But for a few dollars, $40, $60, you can get an all-day class oftentimes with a professional turner if you're a member of a club. You can learn so much. I always like hollowing. When I first started hollowing, I was scared to death, but because it's all by feel of what's going on. But it's very rewarding when you get done. I'm going to switch back over to the 45, and see if I can get some more middle out of this. How are we doing on time? 11 o'clock.
I don't want to spend more than an hour and a half on this today, tying y'all up. So we will try and move this along. Okay. Do 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 do. I'm going to take a little bit more with the 45, then I'm going to go back in with the 90 and finish that up. Now I'm not all the way down to the bottom, but again, I've got some more turning to do outside here to finish making this piece. Again, if it were me, I would have a standard CI5 cutter on here, which would be much more aggressive and cut this wood a lot faster. But you get the idea. After a while of watching somebody hollow, it all looks the same. And I get that. I'm reaching right up to the top there. Coming down the wall. Sweeping around. Okay. All right. Something I haven't had in doing public forever is I don't carry air on the road, but I'm going to start. I finally have air in the demonstration is live to blow the chips out, the dust out. I know it's a novel concept. You think, oh, that's no big deal, Brad. Well, 9 years of the woodworking shows, I've never had compressed air out there to blow chips out. Okay, so I'm going to stop the hollowing. You understand how that is. I would just keep working my way down through there. Let me change this camera over. I would keep working my way down. I'm about halfway through here a little bit. The center is a little bit deeper than a half. The top wall thickness, I don't have a caliper probably that's going to reach in here, but I'll try. See if I can show Jerry, who does things that are very thin. I don't think I can get in here. No, not this one. The only one I've got here. I don't know, Jerry. It's probably 1/16 of an inch at the top. Nothing extreme. Nothing extreme. So we want to go ahead and finish this out. Now I will go ahead and started working on the spindle or the stem, turn the rest of this away. Let me go ahead and turn this lathe back. And it's the overhead shot that needs to be right. So we will check that. Isn't this live stuff fun? Need to get this back in the shot for you, where you can see. What's going on? All right, get over there. All right, good deal. How's that look? We can see that. He told me to get rid of my skew and turn it around so that it was weak after that Nick Cook shop using the skew so that that's what I use. Thanks. Thanks for the plug, Bradley. Hey, Jerry, no problem. No problem. I look forward to talking to you this weekend. All right, let's go back to this guy. And I'm going to put this paper towel back up here underneath. Fold that over. So my banjo can come up here. And we'll finish. We'll go over top. How's that? We'll finish this shape out. All right? Good deal.
Again, you can use whatever tools you want. I really do like using the round carbide from Easywood. I think of it as a sculpting tool. I'm going to change the camera back over for a second. There we go, to number one. I really like it because it's so easy to sculpt with. Yes, you can use the spindle gouge to achieve the same result. This makes it so much easier. Nothing wrong with the spindle gouge, and I play with it, and I'm getting better with them. Again, I'm a bowl turner, have been. I'm expanding. I've been turning for 12 years now, and I'm starting to do things that I haven't done in the past. Nothing wrong with that. We can all always learn new things. I use the woodworking shows. I'm trying new things out there in front of an audience all the time, because that's a lot of times that's where I get the most of my turning time. And I've been able to work out here in the studio. I'm going to get more time in, but try lots of different things. And when I was playing with that spindle gouge earlier, I noticed it needs to be sharpened, and I'm not going to take the time to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and use this round carbide to make this shape. So let me switch back over, and we'll get started on this profile and see if I can keep from breaking it now that I have broken two things in the last couple of weeks. That's the end shot. We don't want that one, but we do want to adjust in case we need it. And we'll go to the overhead. Uh-oh. Come on back. Wrong button. There we go. All right. There we go. We'll turn the speed back up. Dial her up around 1,000. So one thing I want to do pretty early on is I want to establish where's the bottom of this going to be. What's the overall profile and ratio going to look like? So I know where to work to. And I'm thinking, and I just give myself a rough place and say maybe, I can always make the base smaller. I'm going to say right around there. When that goes down, comes up maybe a little bit longer. I might want a little bit more. Let's go here. We've got plenty of wood to work with. Okay. And so that's going to be my base. The base will end up being a lot smaller than it is now. We leave as much material as we can for strength as we work our way along. You know, just for fun, because I was talking about it, let me switch over to a little detail gouge, just for yucks. See if I like what I get. I'm always interested in changing tools, trying new things. This is real small. I think I'm going to raise that tool rest up a little bit. like I say, I don't mind learning things in front of an audience. Puts a little extra pressure on me to be um, genuine. If I don't get it right, I don't get it right. We don't all get it right when we get started with something new or we haven't done a lot. I'm gonna zoom that in a little bit more. So I want you to see that cut that's going on and adjust the camera. One of the things I've been trying to get better at is my real light touch with the spindle gouge. Let me get this adjusted where we can see really well. And when I'm having a good day, it's a finish that virtually doesn't need to be sanded. Am I there yet with perfection? Absolutely not. But I'm working on it. And as you can see, I'm getting a nice clean cut, other than where I'm jumping up and down here. That is actually smoother than where I sanded out here because there's no sand marks in it. When you come off with the tool with a nice sharp spindle gouge or skew for that matter, especially if you're good with the skews, you know that all you have to do is maybe some 400 and up. You don't really need to sand it too much. It really does work well. Same thing with a good sharp spindle gouge. So I just keep working my way in, then I'll change sides here in a minute. And what I'll do is I'll stop and clean this up before I make it as small as I'm going to make it, because it'll become very fragile. So each of these passes is a practice cut as far as I'm concerned for me, because I'm not in my element. And that's okay. I'm trying to just ever so lightly clean that up. I hope nobody asked me for a captive ring today, because it's almost too late. There's my base there, so we can take a bunch of this out. I get halfway decent with this, I might start making finials. Heaven forbid I start making finials. Okay. I got a line right there. Let's get rid of that. I'm having so much fun with this spindle gouge. I'm going to come across this that I sanded and see if I can't clean that up a little bit more. Tempt fate. Hopefully I won't break it because of that right there. And see, you can hear that vibration. So I need to be really careful and not mess with that. We'll have to sand that out. Never mind. I knew it would be risking it. Be risky. This detail gouge doesn't have the heel ground real far away. Start to run into a little trouble there coming from the top side. Because if I start to drag the heel, then I'll just make another mark and mess everything up. Okay, I have to defog here for a second. Getting a little warm there. We'll take a look at that. I'll see if there's any questions. And I'll take a quick sip of soda while my mask defogged. So you can see the difference between right here and right here. So this was done even with the negative rake scraper and then lightly sanded. And then this was done with the spindle gouge. And it's definitely a smoother cut. There's no question about it. Okay. All right. I think I'm about defog. I'm not gonna make that too much smaller, so we don't run out of time. I think we'll clean this up. Trying to find a nice approach angle, if you will, that doesn't drag the heel. Raise that tool rest up just a tick. So you can see I'm still taking fairly heavy cuts on the bottom side here. All right, let's see if we can't get this where we want it. Hope my head's not in the way. See, my heel is rubbing back here. I need to grind this away more for this profile. So when I'm trying to cut right here, the heel is rubbing back here, defeating all the purpose of all my hard work. So sometimes you kind of float that old bevel. Don't actually let it rub. Okay. Not perfect in there, but not horrible. So let's do a little quick sanding in there, and then I'll cut the base down. So I'll flip over to the. You don't need to see me sand. I can talk to you. I like to talk to you once in a while. Grab my paper here real quick. Clean this up. Reversed. And I think I'll just go in there. Did 180 into 220 to clean that up. I got to clean this up right here. I kind of messed that up when I was trying to come back up there with the tool. So we'll fix that. Blend that back in. Reverse is the handiest thing for me. About all I ever really use it for, to be honest, is sanding. But it works great. This down in here, it's got some tool marks. Again, I'm not going to sand this to the nth degree. This is just a fun demo piece. Hang around, have around, lay around until I knock it over and break it somewhere. The microphone back where it belongs. Now I'll go ahead and get the base pretty much done here next and define where the part off line is, and then we'll come back, clean everything up, and we'll put, since it looks like the only vote was Lewis for a natural finish. What kind of face shield am I using? Lewis, that is the Jackson Safety V90. Jackson Safety V90. I've actually got some for sale. I don't have them in the website. I sell them out on the road at the woodworking shows. You can get them on Amazon. Pop me a note and tell me I need to put it in the store. They're about $25. They work great. This one's 3 or 4 years old now. It's been doing me a great job, and it's really comfortable. All right, see what we got there. A little more work on that base. Again, we could sand this and make it perfect, but we don't have that much time that we want to take. It's almost 11:30. But you guys get the idea. Okay, I'm going to stop that for now. Go back to forward. Put the mask back on. Figure out our base. Get that worked out. Ready to be parted off. Then we'll throw a little finish on here. We'll use the the Yorkshire grit. And I don't know if I had the wax over here or not, like I said, but I got some lacquer. We'll throw some lacquer on it or something. I don't know. So let's see here. Change a tool. Let's go back. Let's go to a square carbide tool. It's going to be a nice quick way to cut this down. Oh, let me change cameras on you. Overhead. This will cut this down to where I can, what I want, quickly and easily. I'm way above my line here where my screws come to, so I don't have to worry about that. Nice little base here. I like the base to be, I don't know, usually a little bit smaller, kind of makes it interesting. Tool rest is a little too high for that tool. Drop that down safely. So just cut in with the side of the cutter. Or I can go straight in. Okay, so there's my base. Clean that up. We'll take that all the way out of the way. Now I'll grab my parting tool, and I'm going to make my part, just mark it. So now my base is defined, and I can finish my sanding and put a little finish on here. See, I did that. So now I know exactly where that is, and we'll sand that up, finish sanding the rest of that real quick, and we'll do our finish while it's still on the machine. Check, change. Thank you. We'll do our finish while it's still on here, and then we'll part it off. Reaching in front of the camera again. I'll learn my things that I need to do out here to make it all not get in the way and look good. Let's see. Looks like I need to scroll down. You bet. You bet, Lewis. The shield, like I say, I'm real happy with them. They're lightweight. They're comfortable. Is the face shield considered a full shield? In my shop, it is, Jerry. It doesn't cover your forehead, obviously. So it depends on who you're asking. I'll leave it at that. It is. It's very comfortable. Reverse. But aren't working. What? Delayed, decided to quit? How good is that? There we go. Maybe I was asking it too many questions too fast. So we'll sand up our little base section here real quick. Nothing fancy. You know, sometimes I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to put a little profile on that. Just a little, I think when I change it from forward to reverse without turning it off, it gets mad at me. Yes? Hello? Maybe I have to let it reset. There we go. Just a little teeny profile here real quick. There's probably some safety issue on the switch that I'm unaware of. There's just a little profile like that. Nothing fancy. That's what it is. All right, let's run through the grits here and clean this up real quick. Smooth that corner over. Again, more time should be spent sanding to make it really nice, or be better with the tools. Be careful up here. This has already been sanded. Still hit the whole thing. That's 220. Again, it's a cursory sand. We're not really trying to claim that it's all perfect and all that good stuff. All right, let's get that out of the way. A little bit of Yorkshire grit. Don't need paper anymore. Now, like I said, had I been thinking, or maybe you would have waited for me, I could have run over to the store warehouse and grabbed DA. It was, I've got black thick, and a black thick fill would have been really nice right there. Change cameras to that. A black thick, but it would have made a nice little look right there. Again, but I was afraid I was running too late. I do seem to always run late. I put it on by hand without it turning.
so that it doesn't sling all over the place. I'm sure that it's been worked in well. Pretty piece of wood. I'm wondering if I do have the wax in here or not. Probably in the top of my toolbox. And I'm not going to spray lacquer over top of this fresh wax. You can see how that's soaking in. There is wax in this. So I'm going to keep going until it stops soaking in before I start to work. So, you know, Jerry answered your question about how dry it is. You can see it's just sucking up that wax. And it is a pretty piece of wood. All right, still in reverse. I'll put a little bit more on the towel. Now, I need to be gentle. I don't want to push real hard or I'll break my piece. This will make all the tool marks show up, but I know that. I've already made my disclaimer on the tool marks. So we're not going to sweat it. Clean off the excess. You have to be careful. You see how I'm gripping my hand all the way around that? I've gripped it like this and then gripped it too tight to create friction and snapped the stem right there. So you do that once or twice, you get kind of gun shy and you learn not to grab it too hard. I'm using a fresh paper towel here. Take the excess off of this. See if I can scroll and buff at the same time. Is it oil based? Hampshire Sheen, and both Yorkshire Grit and Hampshire Sheen are Carnauba lemon oil, Carnauba microfine, microcrystalline. One of these you can still maybe read. A hand blended mix of mineral oil, lemon oil, beeswax, rotten stone, and pumice, designed to give your wood turning the perfect foundation for finishing. That's about worn off of there where I can't read it. So, yes, it is oil-based, and mineral oil, lemon oil, and beeswax, rotten stone, and pumice. So you get the abrasiveness and some wax to it. And again, that little crack which happens to come right up on top, and I'll blow it out with the compressed air, would have been a perfect fill with a black. Boy, I messed up on this one. A black CA glue in there. Would have made a nice dark little line that kind of fits with everything else. Do I finish the inside of these? Of course not. Why would I? Sometimes people will ask me, well, how do you finish the inside? I go, you don't. At least I don't. You can come up, you can make your little sanders and sticks and all that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Be my guest if you want to do that. That's all good. That's your choice. So again, had I taken the time to truly make sure this was all sanded smooth, and you can do this a couple of times. You could use the standard Yorkshire Grit a number of times and keep getting it smoother and smoother. Again, had I sanded it appropriately, we would have a really nice, smooth finish. This isn't horrible, but it's not anything that you'd want to go show somebody. So you try and find that happy balance between some good pressure and not breaking your stem and rolling your finger up in it. And I would get one fresh paper towel, clean off the excess. Always use a paper towel. Don't use an old t-shirt. Use an old t-shirt, you're going to end up getting your hand or your fingers wrapped up in there one of the days when it gets caught. Paper towel will always tear. Let's see how that looks. So you can see the grit down in the hole there. So we'll blow that out. Let's blow that out right now. I could actually, I could get the black CA when this is all done and still probably fill that. I'm going to go ahead and change. No, I'll leave it on the overhead. I'm just about done. We could fill that, I think, and it probably wouldn't hurt. I don't think the wax would stop the CA from staining the outside because it's sealed, but it would fill the crack. Now, the little bit of wax did go down inside the crack there. But I think it would be worth a try, and then you'd clean it back up. I could actually put this section right here back in a chuck, real gentle like, and spin that and sand it again if I needed to. Okay, let's park this guy off and call it a wrap. My 16th inch parting tool. I love this guy. This thing really is nice. Cut myself a little relief in the back. I got plenty of material back here, so I don't have to worry about it. I want to make this undercut so that it'll sit nice and flat. Not heavily, but just enough. Before I make the final cut in there or get too small, I'm going to double check and make sure that that is concave. See, I'm running into this. It's always nice to have a little extra room there. I was running into this on the outer edge of the tool. So let's get that out of the way. There we go. I don't have my little flex light up. I don't use one a lot anymore. It would be good to shine down in here just so you can see exactly where you're at. I'm going to use a paper towel to hold this so it'll kind of slide in my hand. And finish the cut. There we go. All right. Good deal. That came out pretty cool. So we're in close right now. You can see. You get that right? See the peaks? My finger's out of the way. Again, Nothing fancy. Again, you can see all the tool marks in here. We knew they were there. They didn't get sanded out. That's all right. So we go back overhead and hold up our little peeps and go, hey, worked out well. All right. Let's see. We got any kind of questions? We're going to wrap this up as I lean over there. I really appreciate everybody coming out today. Going to AAW this weekend in Raleigh. Look for me. I'll be wandering around the trade show. Just having fun, going up to talk to folks, socialize. The Spydercraft doesn't have a booth there. Probably next year we'll do one again. Did one a couple of years ago. Just going up to network and have fun, relax. Actually take a busman's holiday, day off in the wood turning world, and talk wood turning with folks. I'm going to check again to see if there's any more questions pop up here real quick as I reach over. The only part I don't like is having to reach over on stuff. Lewis, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us, joining me. I'm glad. I hope this is working a little bit better. I hope the sound is a little bit better. Every week I'm going to make it better and better. I will eventually move this over to YouTube. I just haven't quite gotten all that set up yet. This is a good enough place as any to work the bugs out of it and have fun as we go along. So I'll be back out here next week, Monday at 10. Don't know what the topic is yet. I'll put it in the events list. Probably, sometime this weekend. I got to do it while I'm in Raleigh, I guess. It'll go up Saturday. What I'm doing out here. I'll come up with a good fun plan. And if I don't have any more questions, and it doesn't look like I do, I'm going to say thank you very much again. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Spydercraft, I'm having a ball, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Have a good day. Goodbye.